Hello, thanks for coming to walk with me today, and happy Halloween. Well, Halloween's actually tomorrow, but I'm going to go ahead and say happy Halloween today because we won't be together tomorrow. And today I'm actually wearing this shirt that a teacher friend of mine made me a few years ago when we were on a team together. We all dressed up as like the characters from the Dr. Seuss book, so I was Bluefish. We had other colored fish, of course, and it was just a cute little thing. But actually, what ended up happening is there was bad weather during Halloween the year that these shirts got made, and we didn't even get to end up wearing them. So that was a bummer, but here I am. I'm wearing it today, and I've worn it a few Halloweens to hand out candy. But today's topic is about Halloween since, hello, we're in the spirit, right? And I guess I've just been reflecting a lot lately on different parts of my life. And with Halloween here, it just made me think of what was Halloween like for me as a kid, as an adolescent, and kind of as an adult now. And it's just so crazy to me how much times have changed. So Halloween for children today is probably, similar enough, but also different from when I was a kid. But I want to take you all the way back to when I was in elementary school. Something my elementary school did that I just found to be so fun was a Halloween costume contest. So basically every year on Halloween, you would dress up if you wanted to. Of course, you didn't have to, but most kids did. You would dress up, and your grade level would go to the gym, and we had a stage in our gym. And so you would go, and if you wanted to, or if you dressed up, you would walk across the stage with your class. So basically your whole class would go up, and then one at a time, you'd go up to the microphone and you would say, like, what did you dress up as? And then in the end, someone won. Like, that's back when people actually, won prizes. No, not everybody got a prize, but the winner got a prize. And I can't remember every costume I had, but the one that was my favorite was when I was in second grade and I was a bride. I just loved, that's not very Halloween-y, but when I was little, of course, like a lot of people do, I would watch Disney movies, and the princess would go off and get married and become a bride. And so I thought that was super cute, and I loved my little bride costume. But there was this girl who always had really great costumes, and I remember the year she won, and I remember thinking, man, that is a great costume. And she dressed up as an M&M, and I think that was probably also around the time those like M&M commercials were coming out, especially like at Christmas, like the red, the yellow M&M that most people know. I think she was a blue M&M? I can't remember. All I know is I thought her costume was fantastic, and I have no idea where she got it. I never saw it anywhere. This was back when Kmart was kind of a thing as well, so I would look at Walmart some, but I feel like I got costumes at Kmart for some reason, and I never saw the M&M. But let's see, throughout my childhood, I know the first costume that I really remember, and it was probably when I was in kindergarten, was Barbie. And basically all it was like this, I think of it like a silky potato sack. I remember it was white, like a little potato sack. Basically, you had a hole for your head, a hole for your arms, and it was kind of like a dress, but it was like straight. It was like that white, like terribly feeling like silky material, very polyester. And it had like a Barbie written across it, and probably like a Barbie doll on it, if I'm remembering correctly. And then it had those absolutely terrible plastic masks. Like, if you know, you know. But basically it's just like a face, super plasticky. You had holes for your eyes, like you had a mouth, but just a little hole. And then it had this like really thin elastic strap to like keep on your head. It was so uncomfortable. And everybody looks so creepy in those. But back in, what would that have been, like 1992, 1992 or 1993, somewhere around there, probably 93. I had that. I also dressed up as a pumpkin one time. I really liked that costume. It was one of the more comfortable ones. I dressed up as a ghost. And then I think maybe by the time I was in like 4th or 5th grade, maybe I didn't dress up because I'm not remembering a costume, but surely I did. But then the next costume jump I remember was when I was in middle school and I dressed up as a cow. I like cows a lot. It was so cute. And then, of course there's like the Chick-fil-A cow, and I remember like I went to the mall and it was funny. But those are the costumes that I remember. I never really, I guess we'll count the ghost as scary, but it wasn't like a creepy looking ghost because I was a kid. It was a kid's costume. But yeah, I think I wanted to be a Power Ranger one year, and I don't think I ever found the costume for it, but I had a lot of fun dressing up. And both of my parents worked for like the city or the government. So like my mom, she's retired now, but she was a mail carrier, and my dad drove a garbage truck, and so they had a uniform. So I used to say to them like, oh, are you going to dress up? And they never dressed up. But I would say, oh, well, keep your uniform on, because then it's kind of like you have a costume, so they would. But when I think of like movies or like stories people often tell about trick-or-treating as a kid, like, they're going in these neighborhoods, house to house, knocking on doors, that kind of thing. That was not my childhood. And I don't know if it's just because where I grew up, I'm not saying there weren't neighborhoods there, and there are definitely more neighborhoods now, but the specific area that I lived in, it was more like these little side streets. It wasn't really a neighborhood. Like there would be a street with some houses on there, but it wasn't like an actual neighborhood where the streets had sidewalks and you'd really walk door to door. It was not like in the city, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't really do that. But what we did do is we went to the mall every year, because every single year all the employees in the stores at the mall would stand at like the store entrances. And so basically you would go in and like kind of pop in line, and there would just be an outline throughout the entire mall, and you would get candy from like every store pretty much. And the mall wasn't huge, but it wasn't small. Maybe now that I'm older, I would think it was small, but when I was a kid, it felt huge, right? So you would just literally go through the outline of the mall, inside, not outside, inside of the mall, and with your little baggie, and you get your candy. And I thought it was so fun. And what was so great about that, and a lot of people were there. You were just like 2 or 3 people, everybody went to the mall. And so you got to see everybody's costumes. Like if you're walking around door to door, yeah, you might bump into someone or whatever, but like you're seeing everybody. So I really love that experience. As I got older, I was like, oh man, I kind of wish I went door to door like in the movies. But even though I say that, I had so much fun going to the mall. And I think, for the most part, parents felt safe about that. Like they were with their kids. They were like in an environment where you felt like things were going to be safe. So I love doing that. As I became older, like middle school, teenager, like I mentioned in middle school, I had like a cow costume, and my mom at the time was dating someone who had children and they were younger. I'm like 4.5 years older than my brother. So this guy's kids, one was my brother's age and then one was like a few years younger than them. So they were still really young. So when I was in middle school, they were still trick-or-treating. So that's why I had the cow costume, because I knew I was going out, like we all went to the mall together once I was older, so that the little kids could get candy. So other than that experience, I didn't really do much as a teenager with Halloween. I feel like when I think about teenagers and Halloween, I typically think of them like dressing up, maybe going to like house parties, that type of thing. That was not anything I was ever into. So when I became a teenager, most of my like experiences on Halloween would have been like, I'm gonna watch Hocus Pocus, because I don't like scary movies either. I like the stuff that you're probably gonna see on like Disney or Nickelodeon for Halloween scary movies, something a kid could tolerate. So I watched like Halloween Town and Hocus Pocus, and I don't know, I'm sure there's a few more that were tolerable for me. So that's what I did through my teen years. And I'm trying to think, because I had a like serious boyfriend through like high school, and I can't remember us doing anything together on Halloween. I would think we would have hung out, but I mean, we weren't going to parties or anything. So I really don't know what we did. I don't remember. I remember him dressing up, but I feel like that was right after we were out of high school, because he worked at the music shop in the mall back when people bought CDs. It's actually called Sound Shop. But he had this costume that you would turn on like for air to blow it up. And it was like this big like ballerina costume. It was actually so funny. And since he worked at the mall, of course, he was going to hand out candy to the children. And so he wore that. And there were a few years when I was working at the mall that I worked on Halloween, and I got to be the one to hand out candy to the kids when they came. So that was like, I went full circle there. And that was so cute. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Into my adulthood, well, I guess technically when I worked at the mall, I was a young adult, but a little further in, some of my friends would have some like little Halloween parties going on, but I only recall dressing up once, like as a schoolgirl kind of look, and my boyfriend at the time dressed up as like a nerd, like the nerd that got the hot schoolgirl, because back then I looked I looked a little different back then. Anyway, so I remember going to eat at Chili's with some of our other friends, and they were dressed up, but I think they were going, I don't know if they were going to a club, to a party, and we didn't do that. Like, we just went back home. But that was the only time I really like dressed up and went out to like a party. And the party was Chili's, so that probably isn't even, that's not a party. And then once I became a teacher, Halloween was different again for me, because we would do some activities. I mean, we didn't get to have, like, I feel like when I was a student, we really got to have like a day of Halloween, a bunch of like fun stuff like the whole day. But as a teacher in this day and age, there's hardly any time for fun activities that are not related to curriculum. So all the schools I worked at, they allowed students to dress up for Halloween, but you couldn't wear a mask. And I would do typically like little goodie bags or a little treat celebration at the end of the day, and I would try to find or create like some sort of like maybe like a Halloween color by number, like gotta add to get the correct answer to get the color, but like that's about the most fun we got to have. But the kids always seemed to enjoy it, so that was fun for me to like make other kids happy on Halloween, and like I had as a kid. And then it came to the point where I finally lived in a neighborhood where kids were coming and knocking on my door. Because like I said, growing up, I didn't really live in a place like that. So even when I was older, like a teenager, and I'm like, I didn't really do anything, we didn't really have candy to hand out. No one like ever came to our house for trick-or-treating. I mean, maybe the neighbors. When I say neighbors, like people, I mean, they weren't like super close. You know what I mean? So when I was older, like much older, like late 20s, early 30s, was the first time I lived like in a neighborhood where people were actually trick-or-treating. So the first few years I found it super fun to see everybody's costumes and hand out candy, and so that was nice. And then we had the kids one Halloween. We only had them, that I can recall, one Halloween to take them trick-or-treating, and we took them to my husband's parents' neighborhood, because it was like this nice kind of, this really nice area, nice houses where like you'll get some good candy in here, and it was a big neighborhood. So we went there and took the kids, and so that was really good. But then as our kids got a little bit older, our son always wanted to go trick-or-treating with his friends, and his friend's family would take them to a couple neighborhoods, so we always let him go. and we just kind of stayed home and handed out candy. There was one year, probably the year that COVID was, happening, that we just we sat out a bowl of candy on the front with a little sign like, please don't take all the candy. And it actually went pretty well. We still had a little bit of candy left, so people were like ravishing the thing. So that was good. And this year is the first year that I put up decorations. Like the past few years, my husband put up decorations, but he doesn't mind that there's decorations here, but he doesn't really want to have to deal with the decorations. So since I was in charge this year, I got some new stuff. There was a store called Old Time Pottery. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Until recently, I never heard of it, but it's, I guess, I don't know if it's all of them or this one is being sold or they were bought by someone, so they're having this big sale. So I ended up getting like some new doormats. It's really cute. It has ghosts on it and it says like fabulous, and it's cute. And then I got this little solar powered pumpkin light for the front yard. And I do have some like hanging ghosts. Like we have some hanging plants outside, and I normally take them down and put up the little hanging ghost, and the ghosts can light up. And they're kind of like a lantern ball, and then they have like a white little fabric over it for the ghost. And what else did I get? And then from Aldi had some really cute plastic pumpkins, but they look so realistic. Obviously, if you pick it up or you're too close, you'll know they're not real, but I mean, they look really realistic to me. And so I got those, and they're like on my stairs. Oh, and I got one of those, people always have, I feel like this is how I know I'm getting older, because these are the things that I want. Those little flag stands and like flags that you can change out like for the holidays or seasons. So I got one of those, and it has, I found a lot of like little flags with like little gnomes on them, because I think they're so cute, and they had a bunch of those. I'm like, yep. So that's how I've decorated. I would love to be one of the, like our neighbors next door have like tons of blow up animals, characters. And actually we did have some, we gave them to the neighbors because they have younger children, and they're clearly way more into it than we are. And we're like, you know what, just let them have them. So I wish we were like this house that was like all lit up and everything. There are a few houses in our neighborhood that really go all out, and some do nothing. And I feel like we're kind of in between. Like, we're here for the party. We're just like being very demure, the new buzzword. Although by now that buzzword could be over for all I know. But yeah, so this year I don't really have any plans to go anywhere, be anywhere. So we did get some candy from Costco, and I'm just planning to, I always dress up the dogs, although my dog Penny, like she really hates clothing. Like it makes her really uncomfortable. She will like stand still for the longest time, and she'll just like pace in circles. So last year I let her veto the costume, so I probably won't put her in one. But our other dog, Zoe, she's in clothes like every day. That girl loves clothes. And so I have like these little Halloween dresses, but also have like this cute little dinosaur costume. So I'll probably dress her up because she'll be happy to do that. And then I'll probably try to squeeze in Hocus Pocus. It's like my kind of little tradition. Play Hocus Pocus, enter the door, see the costumes, and yeah, Halloween being on Thursday this year. I don't know if, I think our neighborhood tends to, put candy out on the actual correct day. So I'm hoping no one's planning to come see me the weekend, because you need to come Thursday if you live in my neighborhood to get candy from us. We're going on the day. But anyway, I hope you and your family have a happy and safe Halloween if you choose to do anything. And if not, I just hope you have a good Thursday tomorrow. But thanks so much for walking with me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.